did want, well, let me see something. I am attending the movie right after this, and so I did not have time to change. So I figured with some other wild UUFT women, I am going to the movie, and I maybe best could tolerate this. Here we go. Here we go. The pink ones were better, but they're working. Okay. I wanted to say something about that piece because you all didn't hear the very beginning. That is, you are probably familiar, some of you, with Dr. Glenn Thomas Rideout. He is the music minister, music of ministry and arts at the Universalist, First Universalist in Minnesota. And he's marvelous. But he spoke beforehand, and since we are doing, this is our first Sunday, 8th Principle, Black Lives Matter, whatever you call this, we've been doing for a year and a half, almost 2 years now. And he spoke about when we use music. He also did this at the conference I went to where I first met him. And, oh, happy birthday, Tandy. I'm sorry, it's not a happy one. But he spoke about, and several other people, about when we change the words, when we change the lyrics to songs. I mean, for us, it's usually taking out some of the God talk. It is not welcoming to our people, well, African American particularly, because even though they may now be with us theologically, their history and their love of the music deeply is embedded not only in the music but in the words. And that when we change them to make us comfortable, we are making them comfortable. So that's what he spoke about before he sang, I need you to survive. And I love the double entendre. I need you to survive, and I need you to survive. I need you to survive. I need you to survive. I love it. Okay, so welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Topeka. No matter who you love, no matter how you got here, on wheels or on your feet, we welcome you. And my name is Janine Silsby. We have a few announcements. Let's see. Oh, I put something on top of them. Wait a minute. Here we go. There will be a reception following the service today for Reverend Shannon. We will have an opportunity to meet. Yeah, Shannon. I said it right, didn't I? Oh, okay. We will be meeting her just a little bit later. But don't forget there is a reception. There is the Peaceful Heart Sangha yoga group, Buddhist group, meditation group. We'll meet Monday at 6. Friday at the 11th at 7 is youth movie night here in Scanlon Hall. And then next, I said 6, didn't I? Did I say 7? Oh, 6 p.m. Barbie's eyes are getting old. And then Sunday, the 13th, we will have a Sunday service, Love as the Source and Goal of Healing, and that will be Reverend Shannon's first service with us. And then there's a Dinners for All at Mike and Maria Wilson's. Mike might hold his hand up in case somebody wants to get some directions. And that's our Dinners for All at 5:30 on next Saturday. And then Yes, I'll do the one. This is Prayer for Living Intention by Joseph M. Cherry. If we have any hope of transforming the world and changing ourselves, we must be bold enough to step into our discomfort, brave enough to be clumsy there, loving enough to forgive ourselves and others. May we, as a people of faith, be granted the strength to be so bold, so brave, and so loving. And now, I would like to introduce Reverend Shannon. We are pleased to announce Reverend Shannon Gores as our new minister. 20 years ago, Reverend Shannon started her career as a community action social worker. Let's hear it for the social worker. In Ames, Iowa. You've got a lot of colleagues here in that career. She was focused on immigrants' rights and needs, which led her to move to Lawrence in 2006 for a master's in Latin American Studies at KU. She studied race, gender, politics, and economics in the history of North and Central America, and her master's thesis used the geography of place and nature as context for human relationships. After co-founding the Hispanic Ministries program at Plymouth Congregational Church in Lawrence and working at KU Ecumenical Campus Ministry, she moved to Berkeley, California, where she earned a Master's of Divinity in 2014. She also earned a certificate in religion and sexuality. She was first ordained in the United Church of Christ and then became ordained in the Sufi Ruhaniyat. Sufi Ruhaniyat. International. She worked as an interfaith chaplain for 9 years and in 2020 passed the National Board Certification exam, proving 31 competencies in spiritual and emotional care, including therapeutic interventions for traumatic situations and complex organizational analysis. Did we write this for her or what? Shannon has a private practice in spiritual and emotional counseling where she integrates scientific research, ancient and emerging areas of spirituality and wellness. She is certified in mindfulness and embodiment as a Savanada yoga teacher, close enough, and Dances of Universal Peace leader, and nature and forest therapy guide. She will be bringing her gifts of service to UUFT as a part-time minister, and we're so glad she is here. Welcome, Reverend Shannon, to UUFT.
Thank you for that warm welcome and for the invitation to be with you. I'm really so happy to be here. I actually really want to get to know each of you and what's important to you, but I heard you want to know a little bit about me. So I'd like to answer 3 questions for you. Who am I? Why am I here? And what might this part-time ministry look like? Who am I? Well, that question can go really deep, and I hope we're going to have some great philosophical and esoteric conversations about that. But in simple terms, I grew up in Minnesota. I'm a nature lover, a people lover, and a process lover. I love healing, growing, relating, learning. Thanks. I also love swimming, dancing, and reading poetry. I have a 6-year-old who loves playing with stuffed animals, drawing, jumping on the trampoline. And she is neurodivergent, and I learn a lot from her. My spouse is a massage therapist of 25 years and a Zen Dharma teacher. So on Sunday mornings, they are at the Lawrence Buddhist Zen Center. We have 2 cats, handful of chickens, lots of insects and wild animals, including deer, owls, and coyotes on the 15 acres we live with, which is just northwest of Lawrence off of Highway 24. When we're not in our vegetable garden, we're usually exploring the pond and the woods and the prairie. I am a former community organizer, and I'm still an advocate and ally for justice, equity, and liberation. But most of my recent focus has been more on mindfulness and bodyfulness, which is also part of our liberation. I welcome they or she as pronouns. I'm pretty gender fluid, meaning that I flow from non-binary, sometimes toward what's called woman and sometimes toward what's considered man. But I feel pretty genderqueer. I just mix and match and am outside the norms. So you could use any pronoun for me and it's okay. People often use she because it's most easiest, just as long as you keep the door wide open for who I am. So who am I spiritually, religiously, that Sufi Ruhaniya word? I am ordained in universal Sufism. It's based on the lineage of Hazrat Inayat Khan. He was a Sufi master who was born into a Muslim family in India and became a professor before moving to the United States in 1910. He had an awakening, realizing that all spiritualities can be pathways or roads to the divine love. And so he brought that universalist message to the West. Does this sound familiar? So he emphasized the unity of religious ideals and respect for all religions. He taught not that religions say the same thing, but that each holds a unique, different ray of truth that provides a window for the human family to see through. So if you know the poetry of Rumi or Rabia, you know the roots of universal Sufism. We may use the word God as a synonym for the great lover, and I often use the word spirit or source, mystery, and sometimes I use God, and when I do, I'm spelling it G-O-D-D-E, kind of between God and goddess. That's the word that I use. I also just say the energy of life. I'm going by Reverend because I am ordained. Reverend technically means worthy of respect. Now, aren't we all worthy of the same respect? But clergy use it because it means that we're set apart, not better than apart, but that we have a unique role. I am here in the congregation to serve you as the minister. And I would love to call you whatever you want to be called, whether that's your first name, Mr., Mrs., Doctor, a nickname, you just let me know. So my Master's of Divinity was at the Graduate Theological Union, where many UUs go to Starr King. So I had a lot of UU friends in seminary. I have lots of pagan friends. In my private practice, I work with people of widely varying beliefs, including UUs and atheists. I have also been a guest speaker at other UU congregations, but I'm still new, and I'm going to be learning a ton from all of you and from the National UUA. Why am I here? Why am I here? Well, 13.8 billion years ago, there was a Big Bang, and some scientists actually think it was a big bounce. There's controversy over how this is really happening, but then there was evolution. And there's something about the essence of life that loves ever-increasing complexity. So then we got to hominids, and then we got to the ancestors of my parents, and we're going to fast forward to why I'm here right now in front of you, which is to support each of you on your path to being the authentic, loving being that you're called to be. I want to help you experience life richly and to help the community together reach our mission. That mission to support one another's religious journeys and ethical living by becoming an ever-evolving community that consistently embraces the 8 principles which I totally love. So I'm going to be spending lots of time getting to know you, because I don't know how to support you until I know you. And I'm here to use my decades of training and practice in the field of human relationships to do that. I've spent the last 9 years in part-time private practice and part-time chaplaincy, and I just missed working in congregations like I did so long ago. So I sought out opportunities, and I felt that Unitarian Universalism was most akin to my orientation to the world. And I interviewed here, and guess what? They offered me this job. So thank you. I just want to wrap up by saying, what could part-time ministry look like? The board hired me to focus on 3 areas, which is speaking 2 Sundays a month, providing pastoral care, and facilitating small group ministry. I will be here in the office most Tuesdays if you want to meet with me in person. I'll be available via Zoom other days of the week. I'm going to be preparing my talks from home, and I'll also be here for other congregational events. And just to be clear, I'm hired for 20 hours a week. And in those 20 hours, I'm going to be highly and intently invested on meeting your needs as best as I can. And the other hours of the week, I'm going to be working my other part-time job and being with my family. So if you're used to having a full-time minister, it might feel a little different. And I just ask that you respect that my cell phone and private email and all that is part of my other life, and my UUFT email and my phone and my office hours here is completely 100% yours and for you. And since part-time ministers just don't do everything full-time ministers do, I'm so glad there's strong leadership here. I will be continuing to empower and collaborate with everything that's been happening for 3 years when you've had no minister. So in a way, I'm coming as a co-minister with all of you. I want to say that I want to know why you are here, what brought you to UUFT, where you're at on your life journey, what's your spirituality, your philosophy, what moves you, pulls you, gives you meaning, what are your challenges, and what could help this community be even more amazing. So I'm going to be hosting some tea times, and next week I'll be sending those out for you to come and chat with me, and we'll find times for you to share what makes you feel most fully alive. After the service, I'll be outside, and I'm a hugger, a handshaker, a fist bumper, an elbow bumper, a bower. I respect however you want to connect. I'll be so glad to meet those of you I haven't met yet. Thank you.
Next. Thought this was an appropriate song for us to sing together. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none, singly none, singly none. Okay, and Aaron will now do our story for all ages.
Thank you, Jake. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Will we fit up here? Barely. I have a really good story today. This is called Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll. Let's see what happens. Over the lake and out past the bay, was a green grassy hill where the rocks came to play. They would race to the top to take in the view, then roll their way down the way rocks love to do. There were Kip, Pip, and Chester, and Marvin the Boulder. Ignatius played too, though he was much older, and a group called the Pebbles never ever sat still, zigzagging their way up and over the hill. Do any of these rocks remind you of you? No? You might be some pebbles, yeah. Kai was a meteorite and not from this planet, and Maya was lava, but taken for granted. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, and grumpy old Ebert rolled round with a frown. Gabby was sassy, Leslie had flair, Emma was giggly, and Hud had black hair. Look, why does a rock have hair? I don't know. It's moss. That makes sense. Ooh, Pele's hair. That could be. Okay, moving on. But the one trait that seemed to be shared by them all was that every rock there was shaped like a ball. And because they were round, they could easily roll through the grass, past the lake, up and over the knoll. Except for poor Ricky, who quietly sat. You see, Rick couldn't roll because one side was flat. His friends didn't get it. "Come roll," they would chant. So Ricky tried, but replied, "I'm sorry, I can't." But the rocks were determined. They were sure they could solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him revolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way to the hill's grassy peak. Then he pushed him downhill, yelling, "Keep rolling, kid!" But Rick didn't roll, he just kind of slid. Well, the rocks weren't done, not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick, using big gobs of glue to get them to stick. They were proud of themselves. "This will work," they announced. But Ricky still couldn't roll. Now he just sort of bounced. Well, they pushed and they pulled, trying every which way to get Rick to roll, but by the end of the day, nothing had worked, just like Rick expected. And he ended up feeling depressed and dejected. "It's no use," Ricky sighed. "There just isn't a way, so I'll sit off to the side and watch you all play." What? His friends wouldn't quit. "We're here for you, brother, and we'll get you to roll one way or another." So they pondered and thought, each straining his brain, till they looked up and saw it was starting to rain. And that's when it hit that smart stone named Stu. "Eureka!" he shouted. "I know just what to do." He explained to them how they would get Rick to tumble. "My plan is pure genius." Stu wasn't too humble. So they carried our hero down the road about a mile to the lake where they gathered up mud they could pile on the flat side of Rick, creating a mound that they shaped, smoothed, and sculpted until it was round. Then, after the rain, with the sun in the sky, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. That's okay to do with a rock. They gathered up vines and one colorful feather that they wrapped all round Rick to keep it together. When the last knot was tied and the work was all done, the only step left was for Rick to have fun. They stood back and watched, feeling nervous and tense, as Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense. He moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold, and then, for the first time, Ricky the Rock rolled. So, Bria, the ladybug who'd been there from the start, felt a surge of pure joy swell up in her heart. She thought, as she watched her friends play on the hill, that there's always a way if there's also a will. And she said to herself as Ricky rolled down the slope, when you're surrounded by love, you always have hope. And now Artemis is going to carry the lantern. Artemis is going to carry the lantern today. Okay? And can we sing the children out with this little light of mine?
Shine this little light of mine. That I had the privilege and joy of having dinner or staying overnight with the Rowdybushes in Asheville. And Jim Schwartz and Lisa were able to join me. Lisa didn't think she would, and the reason that she was able to is a sad one, but her brother died. Reverend Lisa Schwartz's brother died a couple of weeks ago, so our hearts are with her. Any other joys or sorrows?
My name is Vicki George, and a joy that we have is our great niece is spending the weekend with us, and she went to Barbie last night with the youth group. She's having a great time for a kid that's kind of shy. The sad news is my only sibling, that many of you know I have a complicated relationship with, is dying in Idaho, and I may be able to FaceTime and at least talk to him today. But, you know, in those complicated relationships, they're complicated, but you still got some love there. Yeah.
And I will remind everyone that we are being streamed and recorded, so please give your name and understand that you are speaking with that in mind.
So, hi, my name is Blair. My joy for the day is that I was able to talk to my store manager, and I got a new addition of responsibilities at work. I am the Promise Team Leader now, which means that I control the outreach that my store does to nonprofits in town to help with donations and events and promoting their ideals and different things. And I also will be running the events in the store to be able to do like potlucks and ice cream parties and that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited to be able to outreach into the community from my company as like an official representative. I think that's really cool.
I'm Dennis Bosley. I'd just like to tell you that Ken Curl and Lib Curl, Ken first came into this room on Sunday, July the 20th, 2008. He is now 94. They're both 94. They've been in a crisis for the last couple of months, but finally they're on the glide path to an assisted living home in Tulsa set up by her daughter. And he said he really appreciated being a Unitarian here in Topeka. It made a heck of a difference for him. And also my 75th birthday is going to be Wednesday. And I'm still driving a truck.
Hello, Mike Wilson, President-elect, and I want to share that our President, Trish Wagner, had surgery on Monday. She is recovering well, becoming more mobile every day. Wanted to extend her special thank you to those who brought meals and I'm sure she would appreciate any reach out if you're inclined via any media that you choose. Probably not a personal visit yet. But anyway, I wanted to share that. And then since there's a little bit of good news, my wife and I will be married. Maria and I will be married 18 years this week, our anniversary. So thank you.
Cheryl Baber. I'll start with the joy, even though I don't really get to be with him. Forrest has been playing with his various bands in what's called farm stock up in Michigan, some kind of like little road show. And so family that did go up there have been recording that, and I tried to share that for everybody else because I know they'd like to see him. My sorrow is it's been 2 years today since I lost my dad. I've been kind of kicking my butt. So I miss him terribly. And little bits will come along and hit me right here. So, you know, that's where I'm at right now.
And I will say for those that do deal with losses such as that that second year is a very difficult one that surprises people. They expect that first one, but they're surprised how hard that second one is. I think that's because it's the first year of forever. All right, we will now take our offering. If our folks will pass the basket. I don't think the words are up here, so I apologize to those of you that do not know them. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. All right. Our presentation this morning is by one of our newest members, Adam Montgomery, and I will let them introduce themselves for what they want us to know about them.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, I will preface this with I am a theater kid, and so, for your sake, I might move around a bit, and so if I get too far away from the microphone, let me know, but I will try to behave and stand still. So, we are tackling today kind of a bit of a big topic. If the title gives it anything, any merit, I guess, we are tackling the difference between practical support and action and, well, the I'll pray for yous, the thoughts and prayers, the blessings, all of the things. And so first I wanted to start with some personal testimonies of my own that related to this topic. So I grew up a pastor's kid, and I was a part of the church and the outreach and all of the things because that's what you did as a pastor's kid. You just did what your dad told you to do. And I remember specifically one of the most impactful moments of my life supporting other people was when my dad took our whole family to here in Topeka, and we personally went around and gave homeless people blankets. It was October, maybe November, getting a bit colder, and he took us to Walmart, bought a bunch of throw blankets and cheaper blankets and stuff like that, and we literally went to random corners under bridges to the homeless camp, and we went and gave blankets to all of these different people. And I was about 9 at the time, if that. And I was able to personally give these to one of the people. And I remember one of the very nice men that I gave a blanket to shook my hand and said, "You have no idea how much good you're doing for people right now." And he was right. I was 9. I saw it as doing something nice that makes people happy and being told, "Oh, you're such a good kid," but realizing that that blanket meant so much to that man, that meant that he was now going to be warm for the next couple months when he would have not had that been guaranteed at all, was very big. And another example was my own personal growing up was a little bit rough, and there was times when we didn't have enough money, and I had the unfortunate experience of living without water. And I had plenty of people telling me how rough it was and everything like that, and I'm so sorry you're having to deal with that. But that didn't change the situation. The caring about it and "I'm so sorry" didn't change the situation. What did change the situation was my best friend's mom, who let me come over every morning before school so that I could shower, so that I could be able to do everything that I needed to do. Someone who let me spend the night there when things were rough at home. I was so lucky to be able to have that personal experience, that I had an adult that took care of me when the adults in my life were not doing great at it. And recently, I had an aunt that got diagnosed with cancer. And those are always the typical thoughts and prayers situations, that they will always pray for you and everything will be okay because you're talking to the big man upstairs. But those didn't help. Those didn't affect the situation. What did was a group of my aunt's friends setting up a meal train, being able to feed her and her kids while she was going through chemo. A website that we had set up for her that constantly kept us updated so that we could give her and her kids what she needed. And so, the point of all of those stories was that the ones that mattered were not the ones that talked. They were the ones that did. They were the ones that helped, the ones that I remember years down the line. They were the ones that changed my situation, that made me the person that I am now, because they took personal action and they put concrete effort into things. And so, I used to be a little bit bitter towards people that talked about thoughts and prayers and everything like that. I was like, well, if you actually care, why don't you do something? And then I realized that was very assuming of me. Maybe they didn't know what they were supposed to do. Maybe they thought that was all they could do. And so I decided today we are going to talk about how we can help people practically so that we can do a little more than thoughts and prayers. So the first one I want to tackle is volunteering. I think that volunteering is one of the easiest and most practical ways to help. You can do it with churches and, be able to go to the mission and feed people and things like that. We always had random events going on where we could reach out to people. And that giving your time is one of the easiest ways to help people, because while we have a limited amount of time here, we always can do at least something. A 5-minute situation can do so much for people that have nothing. And so whether that's volunteering with churches or outreach groups or even personal volunteering, going and finding people that need help, and even reaching out to your friends and saying, hey, can I do this for you? My friend recently had a baby. I know that she needs babysitters. So then we offer that kind of stuff. That is just as important to someone's life as being able to do the bigger things. I know tired moms having a load of dishes done can mean the world. And so, you know, you can always do the structured things, but definitely reach out to your friends too, your friends, your family. People always will be thankful for a helping hand. And those moments will be the ones that they remember of, oh, that so-and-so is someone that I can rely on. Joining committees. I am the head chairman of the Social Justice Committee now. So that's cool. And so I am going to promote it, of course. We do a lot of things as the Social Justice Committee. We not only do events and reach out to people and places and do stuff like that, but we also look at bigger picture, systematic things. We reach out to other committees and other programs. We offer grants. We do all this kind of stuff that not only are we helping the baseline, but we're also trying to help the system as a whole be able to grow together to get what we need. And so being a part of that kind of stuff is a way to not only improve the personal lives of individual people, but also help the systems that oppress us in the first place. Asking what people need is the easiest way to know what people need. It's simple as that. Never be afraid to ask goods and services. We always think about like being able to make food for someone, or, you know, someone's strapped for cash, so you give them $5. But services, like I've said, are very helpful. They do things. People are so prideful. They don't want to ask for help. You reaching out and asking what someone needs will always be beneficial, because I have never met someone that likes asking for help. They don't want to have to be the one to say, hey, I need something. So checking in and asking, what do you need? What can I do for you? You will always get a better answer than just waiting for them to say something. And defend against injustices. You see things that make you angry. You see, like, our 8th principle, being able to defend the minorities and the similar things is really necessary, because we don't, as personally, I'm part of the LGBT community, and so I am a part of a minority. I will say that we suck at speaking for ourselves. We really do. Because we can yell as loud as we want, but when we are not given a voice in the first place, it is hard for other people to hear. And so, we need the voices of people like you, the people that are privileged, the people that have actual voices that can be heard in the first place, to help speak with us. We can tell you what we need, but we need you to help us yell it a little louder for those in the back. We need people that will speak on our behalf, that know what we need, and will just say it a little bit louder. We have multiple ways that we can do that. There are protests. I feel like many people know about those things with Black Lives Matter and the Roe v. Wade and all that situations that happen. Protests are very easy. They help amplify the voices that are not often heard. And so being a part of those is very helpful. And also, being sensitive and empathetic is going to be the easiest way that you know what those minorities need. Intersectionality is the acknowledgement that everyone has their unique experiences of discrimination and depression, and we must consider everything and anything that can marginalize people: gender, race, class, sexual orientation, physical ability, etc. Everyone struggles, so everyone can use a helping hand. You should always see what you can do for other people and be able to listen to them, hear their stories, ask questions if you don't understand. I personally, as someone who has a bit of experience in being queer and the like, I'm always willing to educate. I am always willing to answer the questions that people have, because that means that they can understand, and that means that they can help me be able to get what I need. And so being unapologetically curious is one of the best ways to get that information that you need to be able to help. You should always be willing to ask questions, and always, from your perspective, always be willing to educate the people that don't understand. Be a person that you can have questions asked to. Be open and honest and unjudgmental. Understand that not everyone is coming from the same place and the same background. And yes, it can be so frustrating when people say things and it's secretly offensive and you don't want to judge them because you understand. But you just gotta live through it. You gotta understand that not everyone's gonna be the same. And people are gonna be rough and messy. And so being able to answer any questions, no matter how messy it is, and being able to ask questions and understand that people will be understanding. You have to be able to create that connection there to be able to reach out and help people, or else you'll have no idea what you're doing. And also understand that you won't understand it all. It's okay to not get it. You can still love the people and help the people and not understand it. You will not always know what people are going through because you haven't gone through it, but that doesn't mean that they aren't struggling. I have a quote here from, I'm going to totally butcher his name, Ijeoma Oluo. Yes. That says, you have to get over the fear of facing the worst in yourself. Fear the thought that right now you could be contributing to the oppression of others and you don't know it. But do not fear those who bring that oppression to light. Do not fear the opportunity to do better. Now, to close this out, I feel like it is very important to talk about the dichotomy of judgment and perfection. These are all examples of what you can do to help. These are all things that you can do to help other people. But that does not mean that I am standing here yelling at you that you're doing everything wrong. You will never be perfect at helping everyone. That is an impossible standard. We are not sent here to save the world. In fact, my therapist specifically recommends against that. We are here to help. We are not here to fix. We are not here to save. We're here to do what we can. And you should not get mad at other people for not doing the best that they possibly can all of the time, because we are just human. And you can't expect that of yourself either. You're going to fall short. You're going to fail. That's okay. And the best way to encapsulate that is actually another quote from one of my favorite people. Her name is Shelby Orme, and she says, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good you can do. And I can hope that this is inspiring, and hope that we can go out as individuals and as a congregation to be able to put a little more concrete love and action into the world so that we can be the best place that we possibly can be.
Thank you, Adam. And now we do have some time for some dialogue. If folks have some comments or questions they would like to express. Again, remember to use your name, and you are being recorded.
Good morning. I'm Rob Cook, and I'll be 37 tomorrow. What I have to say is a gratitude moment. Can we have gratitude here?
Yeah.
I have gratitude for Adam's speaking today, and I'm sure you all do as well. Thank you, Adam.
Hi, I'm Nancy Heitzig, and Adam, when you were talking about marginalized groups, there was one that came to my mind I don't believe you mentioned, and that's age. Being a senior, getting old, that, you know, I feel the age. There are times when I'm in line at the store. All of you probably experience this, you know, everything is rushing. Grocery stores always like, here's your change, you know, and you want to put it away, but you know, you don't have time because the next person's coming through. And you feel that pressure building up. And I have arthritis, and if I have any change in this hand, it's coming right out. And it's just, I don't know, it just feels there. And when I turned 65, and I went to do the Medicare thing, and I went into doctors and stuff, I just felt different. All of a sudden I felt like, how come I'm feeling different? I felt like but so there's this the age thing. I'm older, I'm slowing down, I only have so much energy. So I have to limit how many things I will take on. But my dad, who lives in Oregon, he's 100 years old and he's in assisted living. And I can't tell you how many times I'm on the phone and I'm flying out there to deal with issues with that. And it just breaks my heart when I have to argue about when he goes to the ER and worry about how he's going to get back. And they call me, here I am in Kansas. Well, your dad's at the ER and he needs to come back. And I said, okay, why are you calling me? I'm in Kansas, I can't go get him. You know, he's part of your facility, go get him. Well, the driver went home. Okay, we'll send a transport and go get him. I've been through that twice, just yesterday. So, you know, they're finally getting the picture. They know my phone number, you know, when it comes up. So, you know, age is something that I feel strongly, you know, affects those of us who are older, that there's marginalization with that. And I do want to let you know that I'm hoping to be here next Sunday, but I'm flying out Monday to Oregon once again, and then when I come back from that, I'm packing up and moving. And I've rented an apartment out there to be my dad's advocate and to help him for as long as it takes. And I'm leaving my friend here who's been living with me for a long time in the house here, so I'm trying to juggle things, but he needs me, and I always said that he would not die alone, and I'm going to be there. But we all have our things that we support. Some of them are public and some of them are private, but we all have our people we support. So thank you so much for this talk. It's very important. Thank you.
I remember the term, and I still love it. I don't hear it as much anymore. Temporarily able-bodied. We all are.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Peck, and I thank you, Adam. One of the things that occurred to me as I was listening is being a retired social worker is to remind us that asking for help is a skill, and not everybody has it automatically, and it's something you can work on. And sometimes I think I'm an old dog, and I can't learn new things because it's just too hard. But I have gotten much better at being able to ask for help, and it really is a pretty important skill for everybody to have, and especially as you age, but anytime.
have any other comments? All right, we have a closing song. If my friends will come join me.
Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living.
Go and do better.